Hey there guys, Dion here, and well done for taking the time to go through this video as we explore the idea of taking your business online. First of all, we need to obviously ask the question is, what is the benefit or why should I take my business online? And once we've answered that, we can then go on to the practical side of things as to actually how do I physically do that? What are the technology tools that are needed to actually make that work? And just to give you a little brief overview of where this was born out of, I've been doing a series with some of the guys I work with in the real estate industry, and we are on module 5 at the moment on taking our business online. And it's been amazing to see what we've been able to uncover and unpack as we've explored this idea. And I really believe it's an incredible opportunity for us moving forward. So it was born out of the idea with coaching the real estate industry. And but what we saw is that there's a phenomenal practical application for general business. Now, obviously, it doesn't cover all businesses, which would be silly to think that it does. However, your business, whatever industry you're in, may be able to benefit it in some regard with some of the practical applications on here. And as we go through it, I'd suggest you have a pen and paper available so you can maybe write down some ideas that spark. And sometimes it's not even the information that's delivered, it's the ideas that it sparks for you. And I trust that this will make a big difference for you in your business and help you move forward on the other side to 10x your life. So what we're going to cover, quickly some benefits. What are the benefits of going online? And ultimately that talks to the outcome. What outcome are we looking for? And as we ask that question, I hope that that's going to maybe stimulate some ideas for you. We're also going to then look at the tech opportunities. So what technology opportunities are available for us as business owners to move our business into the online space? And once we understand what that is, then how to actually use that. I find that oftentimes fear and the lack of usage often keeps us away from trying new things. We then obviously have to look at mindset as to how we can change our mindset to going online and moving away from the old adage of saying, I've always done it this way, therefore I'll continue doing it that way. Perhaps that would have worked in the old times, but now we're in a different time. And then we're going to look at starting with the end in mind. And we're going to first cover the why. Why are you doing this? And so I trust this was session 1 that I did with the guys, and this will just be a general overview of it. There's a lot of things that will come out of it. So let's jump into it and we'll run through in the next probably 20 minutes. So I think one of the first things we want to go through is, I call it client expectations protocol. And this is about positioning yourself in your client's mind. Doesn't matter what business you're in. You need to position yourself in your client's mind. And that is determined by how you want to be seen by your client. So maybe you want to be seen as an expert in your industry. Maybe you want to be relevant to your client. But at the end of the day, every single client wants to know, can you lead them to the land of their dreams? And if you cannot answer that question, your client is not going to transact with you. Now, I don't mind what industry you're in, but bottom line, that's what everybody's asking. Every single client in the world is asking that one question: what's in it for them? And I call it the land of their dreams. So if you do not have a specific outcome or protocol to work towards taking your client to the land of their dreams, you are leaving money on the table and you're leaving business on the table. So one of the questions I want to ask is this: do your clients know that you're open for business right now? It's lockdown. Do you know that you're open for business? So that's another question we need to ask. I've been dealing with some estate agents I'm working with, and I was kind of dismayed at the amount of agents that were just going to take 3-4 weeks off and just be on holiday. And what I had to explain was that you're going to lose massive momentum. You will never recover from 30 days off in a marketplace. It's too much time off. So you're still in business, but the real question is, does your client know that you're in business? And I hear people saying, yes, my client, obviously they know in business. Well, the next question I want to ask is, how do they know? Do you think they're just assuming you're in business? Because I guarantee you they're assuming you're not in business. So what do we need to do to make sure our clients know that we're in business? And I've got a client expectation sheet we put together for the real estate industry, but it was just an overview of our processes that we would follow during a lockdown period, and then coming out of lockdown, what the processes would be. But in essence, you need something that you can be sending out to every single one of your clients, letting them know that you're in business. And it may not be as usual, but this is the process you're going to follow. And I call it your process, your protocol. These are the protocols we're going to be following moving forward in whatever that works for you. And every industry will be different. But I just want to know, or just suggest to you, that your clients need to know that you're in business, and you need to continually tell them that you're in business, because they will forget. They're probably in la la land themselves, but as a business owner, we can't afford to be in la la land during this time. And we cannot afford for our clients to think that everything is just on a lockdown. It's not a lockdown, and it can be business. So that's the first step is, do your clients know that you're in business, and how do they know? Make sure they know that you're in business. Even if it's just a phone call to every single one of your clients, let them know this is what we're doing, this is how we're going to do things differently, and we're looking after your best interest. So just starting off with this, we talk about 10xing our life, and by taking your business online, I really believe we're able to 10x our business and 10x our lives. And it's about re-engineering our business processes to be firstly more efficient and more productive. So just some perspective, and again, this is my personal perspective, and it may be completely wrong. And if it is what it is, but this is what I believe, and this is what I'm seeing happening right now. We have an unprecedented opportunity before us. It's never been given to us like this before, and this is the opportunity. The opportunity is for us to get ahead of the curve, because already I've seen in the last week, 2-3 weeks, I've seen things start to shift. Agencies, organizations are starting to get on top of it and starting to realize that an online space is where they need to be, and they're going to start to gain market share. If you can get ahead of the curve, you can gain market share, and you'll never look back from that. And the truth of it is that the dust is going to settle at some point, whenever that is. It might be 21 days, it might be a month, it might be 6 months, it might be a year. But at some point, the dust is going to be settled, and we can probably go back to more or less what we did before. Whether it's the same, I don't know. But the reality is this: what are we doing right now in a lockdown environment, and what are we going to do in the future? And I believe that this opportunity is going to force us to become intentional and purposeful about our business processes. And I'm going to suggest a few things and say a few things, and it's not meant to offend anyone, but this is just what I see in business, is that generally we are sloppy in our business processes, because we are able to do business without really being that intentional and purposeful, because there's enough business out there we can kind of get by. But what this lockdown has forced us to do, it's forced us to really look at our processes in a very real way, because it's not business as usual. And if your processes aren't really tight and really intentional, we are going to lose. So what we can do is we can take this opportunity to really get efficient and effective, and then take the same mindset and the same processes out into the world of business when the dust settles, when it's business as usual. But we don't have to go back to the old processes. And I'll give an example of the way we are sloppy. Like in real estate, it's easy for me to talk on, but in essence, there are processes that we can follow, and most real estate agents don't follow the processes enough, and they still do business. An example would be just the way we deal with our clients, the way we set our clients up for appointments. We generally just let our clients lead us by the nose and dictate terms to us, as opposed to setting expectations and a protocol of expectations to, this is my expectation of my client, these are the expectations you can have of me, and this is the process we're going to follow. Are you willing to follow that, yes or no? And oftentimes what we do is we oftentimes work with clients that we should never be working with. They waste our time and they waste resources, and because we have a fear of maybe losing out, as opposed to dealing with what we call A category clients, which we would work with now. So just an example of being sloppy. Let me ask you this question. How many clients have you had physical contact with or have contacted your company in the last year? All right, think of that number. And let me ask you this question. Have you got their contact details and the email address? And have you been communicating with them over this last year? Now, for most businesses, that will be no, because we don't have a process in place to get our contacts in place and to have a database. The number one asset we have in business is your database and your list. I know that we would say our number one asset is ourselves, but it really is your list, because your list, worked correctly and mined correctly, can go on and create business with or without you. And so that's just one example of being sloppy. Another example, let's just look at the church environment. So how many people would visit a church in a year? Hundreds. And how many of those people have been captured onto some kind of a database and are being connected with? So we might say, and I'm just using this as an example, we might say, oh, but we're not really in business and we don't need to really, we're not selling on them. Well, give me this example, and I'm just using this as an example moving forward so that you can get the point. I come to a church, I visit a church for the first time. I don't go into a database, nobody connects with me afterwards. I go away, I'm in a depressive situation, and I go off the rails. Now, that could have been avoided if I was on someone's database and connecting with me. And why I say this is because, two examples was, one was a church environment, one church I went to visit once many years ago, and still to this day, I still get an email and I still get every now and then a WhatsApp. It's unbelievable. And it's really been amazing to me the feeling, a sense, I was really amused at the sense or the feeling that I had by getting that email every now and then. It just made me feel cared for, I suppose. And it was a simple email. Another example was Flight Centre. I used to do a lot of traveling and a lot of overseas engagements. And so I booked my flights with Flight Centre. So what happened was every week without fail, I would get an email from Flight Centre with these beautiful photographs of different destinations. Guess what? When I booked a flight, who did I book through? Flight Centre, because I had their phone number and they were top of mind in my industry. So it talks to being top of mind. So just give an example of that. Sometimes we are a bit sloppy in our business, and we're literally able to do business without really being intentional. So that's why we're going down this road, is if we can take this lockdown environment to help us become intentional and purposeful, imagine what we could do moving out of this when we move into a normal environment again. So, one of the big benefits of taking a business online is that it will set you free from geographical restrictions. So you are able to do business nationally and internationally without any problems. And just a question, where will you be 8 months from now? Like, you could be like this young real estate agent, frustrated, worn out, just getting by financially. And she says, who said real estate agents are stressed out? I'm 46 and I feel great. So we don't want to be looking like that. So we have the opportunity of being in that situation, or we can dominate our market and with a top of mind strategy. And it really is about being top of mind in an industry. So I know we're talking about technology tools of being online, but we need to take a step back and start with the end in mind. What is the outcome that we're looking for? Because if we can determine that, it's going to allow us to move forward and determine our strategy. So just going for that. So I'm going to start off with the why, the reason why you're here. So in terms of the future is, what is the transformation outcome that you are looking to achieve in the next 12 months? And let me ask you this question. So we're all business in business. So maybe you could just take out your business plan quickly and maybe just share it with the rest of everyone. Now, I say it with a bit of tongue in cheek because I know that probably 90% of people will not have a business plan and will not have outcomes written out for the year. 2020 is just going to happen as it's always happened. And I don't have quarterly goals and I don't have a goal for this month. That's generally what happens in business. And that's what I'm talking about in terms of being more intentional about where we're going, what we're wanting to achieve. Because this is what I know. If you do not have an strong emotional connection to the outcome that you're going for, it is easy to be derailed by different circumstantial issues. So a lockdown environment, whether it's a downturn in the economy, whether it's an announcement by government, whatever it is, those things tend to derail us if we don't have a strong emotional connection to what we're wanting. And it needs to have a strong emotional to the outcome and then a practical game plan as to how we're going to achieve it, which can adjust. So if you have a future outcome that you're looking for, the question you want to ask yourself, you might want to write this question down, is how is that going to impact you and how is it going to make you feel? Spend time with understanding that. What is the true impact and the feeling that it's going to give you? Because we've got to hold on to that. And I promise you, at some point, you will need to hold on to that emotional feeling to the outcome that you're looking for. Because when we have hope for the future, we have power for the now. It's just a statement I've always used, and we know, because the power for the now is the power to pick up the phone call, to make that call that I need to make. It's the power to maybe get rid of a certain employee when I don't want to, or to have that hard conversation with one of the employees or a supplier. Because if I have a hope for the future, I can do the now. The next question is, what do you think could be holding you back from achieving your transformation outcome? So once you know what you want and you know why you want it, we can then ask what could be holding us back. And we can then have a real good look at what that is. And then the last question would be, well, what would be the solution to what's holding me back? So the solution, the outcome might be, we want to increase market share and I want to increase revenue. Fantastic. What's holding me back? Well, holding me back right now are the amount of clients I have. I have 10 clients and I need 20 clients to make target. Well, fantastic. So what's solution? Well, the reality is, the solution is I need 10 more clients. So if I'm doing anything right now that is not bringing me 10 new clients, is that a good use of my time? No. But I wouldn't know that if I didn't ask these questions first. So I hope that you can see the relevance of these questions. Because a lot of times when you go through this process, most people, they tend to glaze over and they saying, well, get to the meat, let's do all the real stuff. This is the real stuff. Because without this, we're not moving forward for the long term. So I really hope that you have a real tangible idea of what you're wanting to achieve. And if you don't, spend the time during this time to really write down what's in it for you. What makes you cry? What makes you laugh? What makes you happy? What are other people seeing you? What are the things that you want to achieve for you and for your business? And I think that can make a big difference. So moving on with that, what I know is this, is that our transformation outcomes are generally at the outside or at the end of our comfort zone. And what comfort zone is holding you back right now? What is holding us back? We all have comfort zones that we're in. It may be a comfort zone of technology. Maybe I've not used technology before and I'm comfortable being paper-based. Well, perhaps it's time to break through that limitation. Perhaps it's just mindset that I've always done things this way. Well, perhaps it's time to break through that mindset. Everything we want to achieve right now is outside of our comfort zone. Here's the good news. What's outside of our comfort zone today can be within our comfort zone tomorrow. And as we expand our comfort zone, we envelop, we overcome, and we take on board what was once previously uncomfortable to us, and it becomes very comfortable, and that becomes the new norm. And we can change it in a blink. So these next 3 weeks, however long it's going to take, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, doesn't matter. We can change our futures by adapting our comfort zone and making sure that we move forward in the direction that we want to go. I just want to just raise this little comment here. This is called moving from E to P. And generally, we have a fundamental ceiling of achievement in our lives. Whatever you may be at the top echelons of your success in your industry right now, there's still a ceiling of achievement. And what moves us beyond our ceilings of achievement is this ability to go from being entrepreneurial or doing what we've always done practically or naturally to being purposeful. And that's what I mean by P. So in what way can you apply this to your business? How can you move from what you've always done naturally to being purposeful, intentional about certain activities? Now, I'm going to relate a lot of this to kind of real estate because that's where I'm busy training, coaching in. But in essence, it moves from literally from the start of my conversation with the client that phones. What is my script? What script am I using to move them to an appointment? If I'm just using whatever comes to mind, that's what you do naturally. You're going to break through by being purposeful. So it's literally taking the script I use, the way I book an appointment, the way I do my sales presentation, the way I do a consultation, the way I onboard clients, the way I onboard staff. Can I be more purposeful in that? And the answer is always yes. So question, how can I be more purposeful in my day-to-day activities and my processes to move forward? And I'm going to cover two things that you want to be purposeful in. One is purposeful in mindset and purposeful in activities. So in terms of mindset, I'm not going to spend time on this, but everything hinges around this. And we know from a biblical perspective, we talk about renewing the mind. Well, it's a very scientific approach. Basically, there's a hypothalamus or reticular activating system in our brain that is, it guards every thought that we take, every thought, everything that comes in, or every response, every external stimulus that comes in goes through the hypothalamus and the reticular activating system. And we have the ability to change the way that reacts to the stimulus. And that has a direct effect to the outcome of our physiology. So you take two people on a particular day, the day is raining. One person says, oh, what a glorious day. We're so grateful for the rain and God's provision. Another person says, oh, it's such a gloomy day. How does that happen? How do two people seeing the same environment have two different perspectives? And it's simply determined by the ability to distort, generalize, and delete the information that's coming in. Now we can change that. And so that's what I suggest you do, is work on that from a business perspective, is to work on the mindset, work on your belief systems. And when I say, when we talk about working the business online, it's changing our mindset to understanding that I can actually do business online. I can do things online that I thought were never possible. That is a mindset change. And that's the first step. Second step would be to be purposeful in activities. And again, for a lot of industries, this will hold true for more than others. But it simply put, on the right-hand side is sales turnover and profit. Now, most companies will be focused on this. You will look at your KPIs and whatever you're working on, you'll be probably focused on profit and sales volume. The problem with that is that that's gone. That is yesterday. You cannot really affect that today. But there are certain activities that are inputs, and you can affect the input that determines the sales volume of profit. And the best thing you can do, or we can do in business, is to determine what are the two lead measures, the activities that I can change that will affect everything. Once you know what those are, you can affect those and measure those. Because if you're, just an example, let's say sales in a sales environment, if your sales manager is measuring volume and profit, it's the wrong thing to measure. because that you can't affect. What you want to measure is how many appointments were booked and how many quotes were given out, because that is measurable today and I can affect it and I can see change in it. So imagine that on a Friday afternoon, I asked your sales manager, says, the sales manager asked your team and says, okay, so Mr. Jones, how many appointments did you do? If you did 2 appointments, he's on track. If you did 1 appointment, he's not on track. It's a very simple process. We don't have to wait till the month end. We don't have to wait till the quarterly reviews because it's too late. If you wait till a quarterly review to review your process, you've lost a quarter. You're never going to recover for the year. It's impossible. So this way we can review your processes weekly. So anyway, just wanted to throw that at you because we have to be purposeful in activities and mindset as we go online, because it's going to talk to what we're going to do online, because it's going to help us become more efficient. So just in terms of what you're looking at, so what is your business focus? The question is, what are the 2 most important lead measures that will help your business get its desired outcome? And I'd suggest you to take some time to think about that, write it out. Think about what is it going to be. So the way we ask ourselves the question, it says, what's the one thing that I need to do today or this month or this year that if I did that one thing, everything else will be easy or even unnecessary? So it's that one thing, it's at 20%. Now we know the Pareto principle, 80-20 rule, but very few people actually know how to implement it. Bottom line, it comes to what is the 20% in your business right now that is going to affect the 80%? So, Stephen Covey always talks about, he says, let's start with the end in mind. And it's about being intentional and writing down those 2 outcomes. And whatever industry you're in, if you could find out what it is that you need to do, that just take 2 things. You can't affect hundreds of processes. Just take 2 lead measures that will affect everything, and then put all your attention onto those. And when you look up 6 months from now, you will have the outcome. That is the way it can be done. So, and I'm just going to give an example, an example from the real estate industry. The real estate industry has a lot of moving parts, and a lot of people are not producing what they should produce. And what I found is we work with 2 things. We work with being top of mind, number 1, and the second lead measure is 15-20-12, which is 15 exclusive mandates. So we become obsessed with 15 exclusive mandates, and everything not producing an exclusive mandate is a waste of time. And that means I need to book appointments and I need to book do exclusive mandates. So what is it for you that's going to make the difference? So if you could determine that, it'll just set you free from having to get through all the smoke and mirrors and all the stuff that goes with it, because every business has a lot of stuff there. And the analogy is this: if you look at an air traffic controller, now you've got an air traffic control on the ground. They've got planes that are landing. They've got planes taking off. They've got planes that are circling. They've got planes that are taxiing on the runway. The question I want to ask you is this: if you ask the pilot and the crew and you ask the clients of every single airplane and you ask them, which is the most important airplane? They are all going to shout out to you categorically and without hesitation that they are the most important. The people taxiing saying they're important. The people landing say they're important. The air traffic controller has to make a decision, because at the end of the day, when it comes to a catastrophe nearly happening, there's going to be one plane that is the most important. And for air traffic controllers, that's the landing plane. The number 1 priority for an air traffic controller is the plane that's landing. Everything gives way to that one plane. So the question is, in your business right now, what is the one thing? What is the airplane that is landing in your business that you are needing to look after? Because there's some we call it the whirlwind. The whirlwind of activity, it just swirls around and around and around. And we get so caught up with emails and clients and all this nonsense, as opposed to focusing on that one thing. Take care of that one thing and everything else will take care of itself. So that's just the message for it. So let's jump into the why go online to dominate your market. And we're going to cover a couple of benefits and I'm going to chat about a few things. So first of all, what are the benefits? And if I were to ask you, what are the benefits for you taking your business online? Is there something that you can come up with? I trust that you could come up with a few things. I'm going to throw some things at you. This is not a conclusive list. I'm just going to share some ideas with you. So first of all, effective lead generation. And when I talk about this, it's touch campaigns, or in more corporate environments, they call it content marketing and electronic sales funnels. What are we doing to funnel sales inquiries to our salespeople or to appointments and meetings? And when I say content marketing, it's about being in contact with your clients. It's the most effective marketing tool you'll ever use. I think what happens is that we get caught up with big corporates like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Adidas, like Apple. They have unlimited budget for marketing and for doing brand awareness. Most businesses are not in that arena. Your brand awareness is not going to do anything for you. It's about marketing to individual people and getting a specific result out of it. And what I mean by this is every single client that ever touches your company or that your company ever touches, they need to go into your database. And what we need to do is once you have someone on your database, you then relentlessly, continuously over time, market and prospect that database. That is your ability, is the ability to mine the database, because that's where the business is coming from. So question, do you have a process for collecting names onto your database? First question. Second question, do you have a process for communicating, providing quality communication that is adding value to your client's life? If you're able to do that, those clients will stay with you for life and they'll do business with you. So the other main benefit is obviously travel time. If you were to be online, you could take away a lot of the travel time. A lot of appointments could be done on Zoom or on some kind of marketing medium, as opposed to traveling across town. Now, obviously, when we talk about different industries, we'll get into that now. Sales is easy to work at. Obviously, it makes sense. If I could do a sales presentation from my office or from my home, and I can save the 2 hours travel, it's a massive saving. Obviously, I could do many, many more appointments a week. But it holds true for counseling. If you're in the counseling environment, if you're in the training environment, imagine training online as opposed to getting 50 people together in a training room. They're all traveling. You have to book venues as opposed to doing it online. Massive difference. Whether you're in the corporate environment and you've got management meetings, the amount of time that corporates spend traveling to and from meetings is unbelievable. So imagine doing that online. The benefit of being online, again, is that we have to be preset. We have to actually set an agenda. When we set an agenda, we become more intentional about our meeting, and it doesn't just drag on with drivel. We get a set an agenda, we do the meeting, we move away. So there's lots of benefit from that. The other side of it, obviously in a virus environment, there's less physical contact, so less risk of infection. So let's say we come out of this lockdown environment. What's going to happen? How long is it going to last that we have limited time? It might be 6 months, I don't know what it's going to be. But at the end of the day, it almost doesn't matter, because if we can employ this process of going online, we could be free geographically to process and to build business whether we're physically in contact or not. And I think that geographically freedom could make a massive difference for a lot of businesses. But what I want to just say, the most important benefit for doing this online is that for me, I feel it's going to help us become more effective. We have to be very intentional and purposeful when we're doing it online. And when we come out of this process, we are going to be much better at doing business. We're going to be more effective, more efficient. I'm seeing right now, with some of the estate agents I'm busy working with, that they've been in the industry for 16 years, but just sloppy in the processes they're following. And now for the first time, starting to really look at the process they're following. And to give an example, so one of the agents I'm working with, they've just done their first transaction with absolutely not one physical bit of contact with any clients, not a seller or a buyer or a conveyancer, all done online and transacted. Now, that is liberating for this individual because they've seen it for the first time. It set them free from geographical restrictions. So what could you do in your business to be free from geographical restrictions? So just going on this, so let's just talk about industries, because sometimes I'm hearing people saying, and I know you're probably saying this, that, well, my industry is different, I can't do it. Well, let's look. So sales, obviously, very simple, easy to move it online because it's about presentations. It's about committing to clients, getting signatures, etc. We can do it online. But consulting, if you're in the consulting industry, let's say financial consulting, or are you providing some kind of a service through consulting, the online space is perfectly designed for what you're doing, whether it's coaching, training, whether it's physical training, or even fitness. Like people are in the fitness industry. Overseas, when they talk about the online space, there are a couple of big mega industries, and that's the fitness industry, the food industry, and the self-help industry, and dating. Those are the four big mega industries overseas right now. Now, how on earth do you do dating online? Well, it's a big thing. So this whole thing of dating coaches, they've got these, it's unbelievable. Fitness. Now, fitness, one would think you'd have to have a personal trainer face-to-face with you. Well, it's one of the biggest driver industries right now in the States where they do it online. So you can do that. So whether it's advice, whether it's management meetings, IT agencies. Now, obviously, IT agencies should be on it, but I see IT agencies. There's a big agency in Bellito, and they have vehicles driving around. Now, how much time are they wasting driving from client to client? It's ridiculous. They got IT experience. They could just be using technology to hop on the guy's computer and fixing the computer from the office. Now, I know some people do it, but my word, just do that. So church environment, I mean, obviously we want to gather together, but look how the church environment has been able to just shift within a matter of weeks to doing online services and stuff like that. Obviously, it does take away a bit of the rapport building and a bit of the connection, obviously, but there's some things that can go forward from that. So what else could we be doing? So the question is this: could you use this process of going online either for the whole of your business or just for a part? Maybe it's a part of your business where it's maybe the initial contact or the initial presentation that you're doing online just to pre-qualify your clients, and then you meet with the real people. So however it's going to work for you, I'm just throwing it at you. Maybe just think, can online make a difference for you? So here's a couple of questions that can help you look at it. Now, do you need to do any of these? And the first one is recruit, train, retain. And what do we mean by that? Is your industry needing to recruit new members, new staff members? So if you're in the big corporate environment and you're looking to bring on board new directors or management staff or whatever, why do you have to recruit face-to-face? Why can't we do the initial recruitment phase online? Imagine how many people you can go through, because I know it's the bane of most managers' lives is recruiting people. It takes lots of time and we waste time. Do it online. So could you recruit? Could you recruit sales agents? Could you recruit people to your organization? Could you recruit new business? And then how do you train them? We could train them from home. Everyone could be at home doing the training. You could train 500 people from one venue, from the armchair. And then how do you retain people? And retaining is about nurturing people. Could we nurture? Could we retain staff? Because we all know that the cost of acquisition versus the cost of keeping people is massively different. Your cost of acquisition is huge. So we spend all that time and money and energy recruiting people and getting them on board, and we spend no money retaining. But taking a business online could retain business in a very, very efficient way. Most of the times, the clients that you've got right now, well, let me ask you this question. You've won a client and you've got a client. Is your competitor prospecting your client right now? Yes or no? And the answer is obviously yes. And another question is, what are you doing right now to retain that client? Because if you're not top of mind, if you're not spending time nurturing your client, oh my goodness me, you don't deserve that client probably. So I'm just saying we need to retain that client. And the best way to do is online. You could be, I'm just working with the guys in the financial services industry, just helping with looking at retaining his clients. He's subject to some body organization. He has to do an hour consultation once a year with all his clients. Now he can do it online. He doesn't have to travel ever. So the next thing is present, close, and nurture. So what do you need to do to present? Do you need to present a sales presentation? Do you need to present some kind of a quote or a proposal or a tender? So are we presenting online, or are you still trying to do it on the phone? So I want to show you with an online Zoom meeting or whatever meeting you're using, you could do it as if you're there. You can present your meeting right online. It's an amazing opportunity. You can share your screen, do a full PowerPoint presentation as if you're there. And then you can physically close with your clients. And with today's technology, you can have call to actions right on your screen, connected to PayPal. They can click a screen, make a payment, and you've got the close. And then again, nurturing. And again, set nurture separately, because nurture is one of the things we need to be doing. Every industry needs to be nurturing. It doesn't matter if you are hardcore sales or if you're on the other side in terms of counseling of church environment, you need to be nurturing people. And this is a way to do it in a very efficient way. Obviously, nothing takes away from that personal one-to-one, belly button to belly button. But in our industry today, where things are going, we need to adhere to, it's high tech, high touch. We want to be doing both. And this is a way to do it. So let's quickly look at what activities require actual physical contact. And I've used that picture of that fish there because you don't want to have physical contact with that lionfish. It'll hurt you. But what can we do in our businesses that physically do not require activity? And so can you give an example of one of our agents now that's just made their first sale with absolutely no contact. Now, they thought initially that you couldn't do that. And there are ways. So I'm going to go through, I just want to give an example. This is again from real estate example where with sellers, the contact needed was, we were thinking, well, you first of all need to view the property. Obviously, you need to meet your client, the seller, and view the property so you can do evaluation, one would think. Well, the alternative is that you view the property online. We allow the sellers to do a video walkthrough for us and take photographs. It's good enough for us to do a valuation process to meet the client. Next thing would be, from a buyer perspective, I need to obviously take my buyers to view the property, get a feel for it, obviously. Well, the alternative is we do Matterport, using Matterport technology, do virtual walkthroughs, and I can do virtual tours, photos, and I can do that with my buyer, and they can get a good picture, and they can sign an offer to purchase subject to viewing if they have to, or sign it if they see it's good. So obviously, moving out of a lockdown environment, we can then do the process and then move on at a later stage. The question two is, what do you need to do? What activities have you got in your business that you're doing with physical contact? And are any of those, are you able to take any of those and move them into an online environment that could save you time if you need to? So that's just the question. So you're going to have to think about that for yourself, your business, your industry. What could you take from what you're doing right now and just change it slightly? And so again, we're going to look at some presentation tools. I'm going to cover the technology now, but again, starting with the end in mind. I want to just, again, the example would be in the real estate industry would be for the sellers, and we're going to talk about your business now, but from a seller perspective, there's two environments right now. One is a lockdown and one is after lockdown. And we've got to think in terms of those two times, because we are going to come out of lockdown and we're going to go out of lockdown, and you've got to have to think. So for sellers, from the real estate perspective, the outcome is well-priced exclusive mandates, listings, and rapport. We would be happy to receive any one of those. Now, moving out of lockdown, what would be the outcome? The answer is more well-priced exclusive mandates in less time, less effort. So for you right now, for your business, what is your outcome for your business during lockdown? And I've written there with a bit of tongue in cheek, watching Netflix. Is that your outcome for the next 3 weeks? If it is, well done. That's amazing. Taking 3 weeks off, it's great. Maybe we're all doing something wrong. But the thing is this, do you have an outcome for this lockdown? Because if you don't have an outcome, you can't measure at the end of the 3 or 4 weeks if you've been successful or not. There has to be. So outcome might be for our businesses. Maybe your outcome is just simply to build rapport and to nurture your existing client base and do that intentionally. So how would you do that? Well, using online technology, we hop onto a Google Hangouts call, and you could be making contact with every single one of your clients, having a one-on-one conversation with them, just finding out, say, hey, John, just phoning you just to see how you're doing. Just want to see how we've had a phenomenal year. What was the best thing you got out of this year? What did I do really well? What were some of the things that I didn't do so well? What could I improve on? Imagine if you did that. How effective would you be moving forward when you onboard a new client? Massively different. And then the outcome in a moving out of lockdown, what would be the outcome? More of the same. And can we tighten up? Maybe your outcome is to tighten processes, but the question is, are we doing it? So just want to throw that to you on that. So again, from the listing process and your process, I want to draw the analogy and maybe ask you to write down a few things for your specific listing process. I'm going to just zoom through this quickly, but in the real estate perspective, from a seller perspective, in terms of listing a property, there are lots of different processes. Find the property, find the number, book a seller appointment, do the seller expectation protocol, do the first viewing, do this valuation, prepare a CMA, do the second appointment, do the presentation, sign the mandate, take videos, take those. It's a long process. But the reality is, for most agents, they've never written down the process. They just follow something as it goes on. And sometimes what happens is we become we respond to situations as opposed to dictating processes. So for you right now, I would even stop the video and ask yourself, write down your process. Take your business and say to yourself, okay, what is my process that I'm following? What is, from when I meet my client for the first time to when I'm actually closing business to when I'm building rapport with them? What is it I need to do? And then ask yourself the question this: what of those processes could I do online? And then the next question is, what documentation do I need to change? Or how can I change the process of the documentation to be an online? Simple example. Give an example. So we've got a situation where clients need to sign a mandate before property can be sold. Well, one would think that you could just send the mandate to the person that could sign it. But let's think of the process through. So now I send it to a client. He hasn't got a printer. He can't print it out. He can't sign it. He can't send it back to me. So now a week later, they haven't signed the mandate and I've lost business. Well, how do we change it? Why don't we get an editable PDF where they physically do it online and they just do a digital signature and it's done? 30 seconds later, I've got the contract back. So what is it in your business that is taking more time than it should? Can you use an online solution to change that and to get that contract signed? So that was the value of this process. Just look at what you can do to move that on for yourself. Guys, I hope this is starting to make sense. I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but you know what? It's working through in the industry. Perhaps this can help you. I hope it does. If it doesn't, hey, maybe we just had a good, hope you had a cup of coffee while I've been watching. So online technology. So how do you choose the right online technology? And this is what it comes back down to. So it comes back down to what is the outcome you're looking for? So in terms of outcome, is your outcome that you need to do a sales presentation? And in that sales presentation, you need feedback. So you want to do a sales presentation, you want to see the responses of your clients, you need feedback. That's a different outcome. You want to actually be able to engage and build rapport with your clients. So that means you need, again, to be able to see your clients. You need them to respond. Or you simply need to just deliver information. Could you just do a simple webinar where you deliver the information, you don't need to see clients, you don't need to see what they're saying, and you can get the information done effectively and efficiently? Or do you need a feedback process where they can write down? Do you need surveys done? Is there some kind of a call to action or e-commerce requirement? Do you need them to physically click a button and be able to make a payment online? That will determine what efficient. So then some of the features are, what is the cost involved? There are some free opportunities. There's some that cost more. Your online support. There are some international markets where you don't get any support and it's very difficult to actually learn the process. Or do you need to screen share? Do you need to share your screens? Do you need to present versus meetings? Is the number of attendees important to you? Are you good enough just to have one-on-one? Or do you need 100 attendees? Because some do different things. Do you need to do file sharing quizzes? So those are some of the features. So I just want to run through 6 different options. There's so many options. So on the top line, they've got Zoom, Meet, and Hangouts. The reason why on the top line is because they're free. And they have free components where they're completely free with some restrictions. On the bottom line, you've got GetResponse, Zoho, and Webinars, or Webinar Jam. And they have a free trial. It's generally limited to 14 days or 30 days. And then you can go into a paid subscription. So there's paid options. So again, each of them have their own restrictions. And I'm just going to run through them very quickly. So Zoom, number one, the good thing about Zoom is that it's free. It's free. The only restriction is if you have more than 3 on your meeting, you have a time restriction of 35, or they say 40 minutes, but it works out to 35. So if you don't mind, if you can do your thing in 35 minutes, that's great. Or you just then redo it again and you can do an hour very easily. The benefit is free. If you go into the paid subscription, it's about $40 to $50 per month. So you're looking at 600 Rand a month for the Zoom version. They also have a webinar version. The major advantage of Zoom is that it has everything that you need to build and engage rapport. You're able to share your screen. You are able to share, they can see you can build rapport. There's real time. There's no delay in the broadcast. And their technology is very good. They're able to use the bandwidth very effectively. So you don't have delays very often. And you can share your sound, so you can show videos online. So it's quite good on that. Meet and Hangouts. So the other disadvantage of Zoom is, it's not a big disadvantage, but you need to have Zoom downloaded on your computer or your device. Now, so if I'm sending a Zoom invite to you for the first time, and you don't have Zoom, it's going to be a little bit complicated if you're not you don't know technology very much. The workaround is that Zoom has a very quick way of downloading. That they send you a link that you can download, and you can send them a tutorial on how to do that. So there's a quick way around it. Meet and Hangouts are also, again, free. It's a Google product. The Meet option is much better than Hangouts in terms of the seamlessness and the effectiveness of it. However, it's only available on the G Suite. So you have to pay on the G Suite. It's about $8 as an individual. I don't know what the corporate is, but it's $8 a month. And you can get the G Suite account. If you're working for a company, they will have the G Suite generally on that. And then you get the Meet option. And then Hangouts is available. They are discontinuing Hangouts in the future, so we don't know when that will happen. But both options are free. Your restriction on Hangouts is it's 25 attendees. So if you have less than 25 attendees, you don't have a problem. And again, same as Zoom, you can share your screen and do everything, which is really good. The benefit of Hangouts is it's very, very simple. You can literally, and I'm going to show you quickly how to use Hangouts. And then GetResponse is a fully automated email marketing thing. The program is, you have to really get to grips with the program. It's not as intuitive as one would think. but it's really good on that. So you can put your whole email marketing, do your touch campaigns through them. They also have a very nice webinar built in, which is very effective. Again, they have a free trial version. Their cost is, again, about $30 to $40, depending on what you're taking, and depending on how many subscribers you've got. If you've got less than 1,000 contacts, it's at that. If you have over 1,000, it goes up to $49. Zoho, again, also very good, very stable, excellent program. Has a great webinar and meeting opportunity built in. Again, you can share your screen. It's very, very robust. And the costing, again, it's not bad. Again, $30 to $40 a month, depending on what you take, and you have to upscale on different things. Webinar Jam, as a webinar, if you're looking for a pure webinar marketing campaign, there isn't anything better, and it's one of the cheapest. As to GoToWebinar is like, I think it's possibly, I want to say $200 or $300 a month. A Webinar Jam works out to $450 for the year, so it's about 6,000 Rand for the year. Very, very effective, and for marketing, it's great. So those are the deals there. What I want to do is I want to see if I can quickly just show you, in terms of Hangouts, most of you will know how to do this, but I want to show you, if you don't know how to do it, in terms of actually how to use Google Hangouts in an environment. So what I've got here is I've taken you to my screen here. If you go into these little dots, the Google Apps dots, you'll see that when it comes up, you'll see that there's calendar. You just click on calendar. So I've got my calendar, and when I want to click on, I'll just double click on the time frame. And what it brings up a situation. I can go and type in here, and I can go and type in test meeting. And I then go and see, and then I've got my date and I've got my time. If I want to change the time there, I can just click on it, and I can say, actually, I actually want 11:45, and it got 11:45 to 12:45. I then go down. If I want to have a live meeting, I can actually go and click on the location, and I can do a geolocation, and they will get the location with the address. So there's no people saying, oh, sorry, I don't know where the address was. They've got it. But what we're looking to do from an online space, just below that, it says add conferencing, and you can go on the click down menu, and you can literally just click Hangouts. So you click Hangouts, and now it will send them a Hangouts meeting request. And you can then set your notification, like say 30 minutes before your meeting. And all you do is you go to where it says add guest, and you literally can literally just click on add guest, and you now are able to shoot that out, and you just click save. So what I'll do is I actually literally just click save, and I go send. And what it does in my calendar, it's got now test meeting. So if I click on that, it's got test meeting, it's got the meeting, it's got join Hangouts. So literally what I do is your client or yourself, you just at the appropriate time, you just literally click on join Hangouts. And what it does, it actually brings out your Hangout screen. And now I'm able to say, and I just join Hangouts. And what I'm able to do then is I'm able to share screens. Over here at the right-hand side, you go, and it clicks, you can go share full screen. You can go, once I'm in Hangouts, you can click it and it goes to share screens. So what you're able to do is you're able to very quickly book a meeting, and you can have this meeting online, and they can share the screen. So I hope that can just help you see the way we can do that, and you can use the technology. So I would suggest you play around with one of the technologies, go with Hangouts, with Zoom, so GetResponse, try some of them out, and then practice doing some real opportunities for people. So lockdown solution. If you want to take your business online for the future, what's the next step, guys? So again, just in my idea is decide on the technology tool that you're going to commit to. Find one of those tools that you feel comfortable, that you're going to practice, and decide to get good at it, and then use it. And it'll set you free geographically. They'll never be restricted again. Secondly, send out your client expectation protocol sheet. Let your clients know that you're in business and what your protocol is for dealing with this time in a lockdown environment. So, and moving forward, because what's going to happen is we're going to come out of lockdown, and let's say you need to be doing a sales environment with somebody. They are going to be worried about the virus. So you need to take the fear away. So just as a rule of thumb, in anything you're doing with anybody, is if you can understand the fear and the frustration of your client, and you can then future pace the solution, you will do business with them. So what is the fear with our clients moving after lockdown? That there's some residual virus available. So what are you going to do? So in your protocol, you definitely need to put up your how you're going to be sanitizing the situation, how you're going to be, your protocol for washing hands and meeting with them so that you don't infect them. That you need to let them know about that. and how you're going to deal with things. So that's the thing. So then the other thing is redesign your process and online documents. So what of your processes could you sharpen or do better? And what could you do online? And then what documentation would you need to do it online? And then I suggest a real play training. So take a real play environment, do a presentation with somebody. Just get over the initial fear of doing it online. And once you're through that, I promise you, it's your new norm. You're through that that fear barrier, and it'll be like you've always done it before, and it'll be very simple. And then lastly, set your expectancy for your breakthrough. Get expectant that you are able to get ahead of the curve. Be expectant that you're going to take your business online, and then moving out of this, you're going to dominate your market because you are able to be relevant, and you'll be able to help your clients move through a situation where they are now fearful of maybe doing business and no more fearful of doing business with you. So guys, I hope this has been of value, and I trust it has been. Have a phenomenal day, and you make sure to get online and change the way your business is done. Have a fantastic day, guys. Cheers, bye.